it's been quite an interesting week, a week where a lot have happened. Your President William Ruto has gone to China again.
Again.
Hey,
Pew.
I hope he's not borrowing spree again.
He's borrowing. He's borrowing more money. He's borrowing AU votes for Raila.
He's borrowing everything.
He's not borrowing.
He's borrowing knowledge.
He's not borrowing.
But
It's just the way
it's
he is.
crazy that we always go to look for these trillions and trillions and billions. Yet on the ground, mambo ni?
Different.
That's true, CEO.
Where?
Who else do we have here, by the way? Let's introduce ourselves.
My name is Wanja Maina. Happy to be here.
Hi, and I'm Maria. Did you guys even go to church? Okay, do you guys even ever go to church? I've never asked you that.
Of
Why?
course we go to
We go
church.
to
I know it's
We
Sunday.
are not SDA.
I know it's Sunday, but what?
You don't go to church. Anyway, I'm Maria Nyumbani Waweru. I'm so happy to be here. It's a very great day. Let me tell you something, because for the first time, I'm in casual.
Yes.
Weird, right?
You're a fitness guru. You should tell
Oh,
people.
yeah,
Tell
fit with
people who
Maria.
you
Okay.
are. Let them know.
I'm not a fitness guru, but I love fitness, and I also love working out with people. So if you're interested in working out with me, I can do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If this economy has not already made you lose weight, Maria can also help you.
The economy has made us lose a lot of weight.
Exactly.
But are we healthy?
Are we?
We are not healthy. You're losing weight, but you're not healthy. No, you're losing weight and losing muscles. We need to get the muscles at least.
So, spoken from
Yeah.
my mouth, exactly. And I'm Simon Says, and I'm someone who keeps it real with you and also make content that makes you smile and think. And right now, we're going to get started with the first topic. CEO, talk to me.
You know, this week I've been wondering that our soldiers, our police officers who have been sent to Haiti, and they're doing a very good job. You know, Haiti is like a furnace. It's a very hot environment, and the guy who was the gentleman who was leading the gangs, the barbecue, had warned us before that when you come here, we'll carry you in body bags. But the guys are really, actually, Kenya police is doing very well down there. The problem is that Kenyans are still wondering why these guys are not being paid. I saw the other day the American ambassador to Kenya, the lady, saying that even them, they're shocked that Kenyans have not gotten their money. What do you guys think?
Maybe the main thing about this is this. First of all, Haiti, it's a proxy war that the U.S. has even started with its own madness that is infiltrated within Haiti altogether. Now, when you actually involve Kenya in proxy wars, expect incompetence. And now when incompetence is actually involved in proxy wars, these are the things that you get. Now people not are being paid and everything. You expect that from the government. You know, when you do something with the government, you expect lateness, like the way even pastors are still waiting for Jesus to actually come back. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but you still have hope. And now the main thing is when it actually happens with all these issues that with incompetence and everything, it can compromise the actual mission itself. Because what motivation does someone have as a Kenyan, even you going to Haiti, apart from getting money to go and actually now fend for your family? You have no loyalty to Haiti at all. You have none, apart from being paid. Now, when that is compromised, what happens? Of course, compromising of the mission. And that is now a big issue. Maria?
You know, our country is a country whereby the government is good in PR. And that is what they did when they were saying that, you know, they need to go to Haiti. And they sold that narrative so well. But right now, we know very well that they did not have a plan. Because if they had a plan, we would not be talking about they are not getting paid. We thought that because you've told yourself and courageously decided that you're sending your own policemen into Haiti, you are sure of affording them and paying them on time. Because this is a sacrifice they were making for their lives. I know. They've pledged allegiance to do what the country wants. But I didn't see it necessary for you to be all PR, sending the narrative of they are going to Haiti and trying to look good to other countries and look like you are such a powerful nation who can at least help out or do something major when you know very well that your economy is actually not as stable enough for you to afford them. And secondly, you know very well that even your own country is suffering Why are you promising and sending people away when you know very well that they are going to struggle where they are going to? It's like they did not think ahead of, are they going to be paid? It was more like, how are people going to see me than how am I going to get them paid on time? And now this news is actually shaming us, because now we are, instead of being proud of the decision they made, that actually, I know some people were against, now we are ashamed, because you see that kimbelembele child, like, I want to show that I can do, and then ukifika hapo mbele you can't do. That is how we are behaving right now, and that is not right.
Wow. Well, for me, really, this Haiti trip and our Kenyan soldiers and being part of the international mission has been marred by controversy from the very beginning. There was litigation, there was activists saying that we should not go. But then again, sometimes I just feel for the Haitians. Unajua watu wameishi kupigana for many years. They have always had a struggle. And you know, some of the people, most of the people who live in Haiti were actually, they are descendants of slaves that were, when slavery was abolished in America, some of the black people that had been stolen from West Africa were taken to those Caribbean countries. So these are people who have known so much trials and tribulations, and then colonialism, French, what have you, what have you. But then again, it is also in the public domain that the Americans are financing this mission, amongst other partners. And then again, when I was just looking at our Kenyan soldiers speaking with a lot of fear, because the story that was CNN, they were speaking anonymously, I was thinking, American soldiers who go to fight outside of their territory are treated so well. Their families back in America have a lot of perks. In fact, in America, you'll find that soldiers and veterans, they have a special discount in all stores. Yeah. Like, you'll find there's a veteran discount, there's a discount for the soldiers. They're held with high esteem. Soldiers are given a lot of care, including postpartum depression, because when you engage with people like Akina Barbecue or gangs, you are likely to have a bad mental health when you come back to your country. So how come there's so much care and so much safety around American soldiers who go to fight outside of countries, but then again, the same Americans who are financing this mission are not taking that issue very seriously? For me, I would say that they should treat Kenyan soldiers as they treat American soldiers. But obviously, it's also an issue of Kenyan military and Kenyan people who are involved in these negotiations to also put the interest of our soldiers first. Because some people would argue that Kenyan mission, the president and all involved, took the offer because there is money involved. Yeah. But then again, if there is money involved for the logistics, in Kenya, there's also budgeted corruption there inside. At least also have a budget for the welfare of these soldiers who are actually doing the work every day. But then again, I was asking myself, why did we fall into the trap of sending our soldiers there? Because we are participating in the colonialism of black people. The way Simon has said, it's a proxy war, really. These Haitians were stolen from West Africa hundreds of years ago. The French came, wakawa colonized. Our Kenyan soldiers that are Jew, you know, they don't speak English. They speak Haitian Creole, which is some sort of West African languages mixed with French. So certainly we black people are contributing into colonizing them again. If it was really a strategic issue of participating in that war, America is nearer. Other Western countries are nearer Haiti. We don't have any commonality with them other than color of the skin. Wako na huko almost 8,000 kilometers away from us. It seems like it's just for the money, as one US senator said. But for me, I'm thinking, if we are neglecting them in terms of their basic salary, what will happen when they come back with injuries, with permanent disabilities, with mental health and PTSD that most soldiers get, and sometimes they can even run out of their mind? It's high time that we treat them delicately with a lot of seriousness, pay them and pay them well.
Should the soldiers come back, CEO?
You see, I've always said that this thing is, I think I'm twisted into sending policemen to Haiti. because the Americans wanted an African state to take the leadership of that, of human capital in this volatile region. You see, Haiti has always been a very, very volatile. Remember the other Papa Doc, they killed him. The Haitians are not very good people, by the way. They killed their president.
Yeah.
They slaughter them. So, and they have not seen any rule of law for a very long time. So I think, one, it was, if we had planned clearly on taking our soldiers, our policemen there, but also gave them proper equipment, it would have been well and good. But my problem is that the Americans who are supposed to lead this mission, they are sitting and hiding behind a lot of other issues. And now they are the people who are supposed to pay these Kenyan soldiers, not the Kenyan government. And they have not paid them. And that's why the American ambassador to Kenya was saying the other day that even them, they're not sure why there is such a delay in payment. The Kenyan government had nothing to do with payment of our policemen there. The money was set aside by the US and like UN people, they say that when you send your people, this amount of money will pay them. Of course, this budgeted corruption, the one just said, the money which they were supposed to be given, the government was going to chop a bit of it. But it's still good money. But now the problem is they have not been paid. They do not know when they will be paid. They're in a furnace, a place where it's very dangerous. And families at home, you see, this money is not sent to you there, it's sent to your families at home. You've left your family here. The kids are in school, but you cannot take your kids to school. So it's important to tell the guys who are supposed to pay our Kenyan policemen just to honor the part of their bargain. Because if you take our resources to a foreign land and you promise to pay them on time, why are you not paying on time?
That's key, even when you say that, because if what are they leveraging? What has Kenya not done? You see,
Yeah.
a lot of times, even if you're saying that, well, I'm twisted into this war,
Yeah.
that's a big issue because initially it's not something we're supposed to do, but because I'm
Yeah, you're
sure
talking,
because of
yeah,
the
yes.
loans, I'm sure because of other incentives,
Yes,
you
they're
have
told
to
to go.
do this.
Yeah.
But if they die there, will the families be receiving any stipend, or it's you're dead, now your family stops getting anything permanently?
All that is factored in. It's only that they have not been paid. You see, we are saying, when Americans send people, it's not the rate where they give their soldiers or their police, but it is higher than what we would have given as Kenyans to our people. You understand?
Yeah.
So to many policemen who went there,
Money.
for them it was a good thing for them to make some money. Yeah.
And even that quoted price was even not the price even an American soldier makes.
Yeah,
It's just
it's really low.
$1,800, and that's,
Yeah.
and although that's enough, that's more than enough money that even that
They
Kenyan
earn
soldiers-
currently.
yeah, than even here locally. But it's just one of those things that I went for money. I'm not getting my money for over 2 months now,
yeah.
and then now you're wondering
And my kids are out of school, my wife cannot eat.
school fees.
And you see that money is sent to the account here.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
continuing.
So it's not there. So even now you're getting calls. It's like, oh, Toto,
And they cannot come back. They have to stay there because
Yes.
they are contractually forced to stay there till the war is over.
That can lead to a lot of in-house violence. Isn't that right? There's some violence that's going on in-house. Would tell us.
Violence. Now, this one, there's a lady called Rebecca Cheptegei. Sadly, she's dead. What happened? Rebecca was amongst the athletes who were in Paris, or is it Paris? Paris, 2024 for the Olympics. She comes back. They had a tussle with the boyfriend about a parcel of land. Before you know it, he had bought petrol, doused some petrol on her. Fire is lit. She was taken to Moi University referral. And even the boyfriend alichomeka kwa hiyo tu taso yote. And as at now, the girlfriend is dead. Rebecca, the athlete. Sadly, it's not the only athlete who has died from a romantic kind of intimate violence from a romantic partner. We had Turop, who passed on a while back, and we had Damaris. What's happening? Why is there so much violence these days?
Maria, you're the one who's married.
Yeah.
Tell us, why is there so much violence?
But for her, it's the boyfriend.
But they had kids.
They had kids.
Yeah.
So it's come, we stay and have babies, okay?
Okay, you look bad. You look down on it like it's bad.
No, I'm not looking at
Some
down
people
on
want
it.
to
It's
just
a
come
good
and then
thing.
they don't want to stay.
It's actually one thing I've written in marriage is a scam. Sometimes come with stay gives you better peace of mind than a huge splunging of wedding and then divorcing 2 months later or living in toxicity all your life. So, I know some people will rule it like the guys are jealous that these women are seeing out there on the athlete. I know some people would rule it as this is you feeling bad that my name is out there. I went to the Olympics. Come on, that's a big deal. And also I know it will be easier for people to assume that it's just that he was a violent man from the beginning and now you came back, you left me and I'm back. You're back from, you choose your career over me and that's why it gets violent. But let's face it, every single day there is domestic violence still happening around us. And it's not something that we can rule out and say that domestic violence is not there. It is there. Only that when it's someone that is profiled or someone that is big, it becomes a huge news. Because if you look at it, you've mentioned 3 athletes, but out of these 3 athletes, if you look at that duration, there's also other people, lots of them who've been stabbed in campus by the boyfriends, burnt by the families. It happens most days, but because these are high-profile people, it's a big deal. It's like Maria gets a divorce today, no biggie. A celebrity gets a divorce today, it's a headline everywhere. That's what happened. The sad thing about this is, up until today, we are talking about domestic violence. That is actually the saddest thing about it. The saddest thing about it is, up to today, there's a man somewhere who can lift a hand on a woman. And I'm not going to rule out that there's also a woman who lifts a hand on a man. Up to today, there's someone who has anger issues enough to hold a knife and stab someone or light fire for someone. Up to today, that is the saddest thing that we are talking about. And I understand that mental health plays a role in this. But if you are someone who is with someone, like let's say, for example, I realize that I am living with someone who cannot manage anger, it's up to me to draw back immediately. It's up to me to tell myself, I need to move away before it gets worse. And it starts like this. When you are dating someone, there's one test you should do with someone. Try and make that person angry.
On purpose?
On purpose.
That's not toxic at all. That's just being
No,
healthy.
that's not toxic.
Oh, that's
it's
being
not.
healthy?
It's being healthy.
That's how you interpret it.
Yeah, I did that with all my
Very
friends.
interesting mindset you have.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Continue.
If you make someone angry on purpose, how they react to that anger will tell you a lot. If that person breaks a glass, when you get to his house, he'll break your head.
Wow.
That's what happens. It's one way. A slap to stabbing is not far. We need to learn to manage our anger. I'm angry. What do? I'll walk out. I'll come back when I'm calm. I'm angry. Can we communicate? I'm angry. I don't want to be with you anymore. There are so many ways you can manage your anger aside from taking a life. So if we cannot keep talking about domestic violence right now because we have violent people in our society. Can we choose not to be with them? Can we choose to be the ones who walk out of a violence or toxic relationship? Because out of all are we 55 million right now? Out of all the 55 million, you've not dated even a quarter of them. You can find someone better.
Interesting that you perspective, but I have a very interesting take. When it comes to domestic violence in this particular case, one thing I note is that there's a difference between men and boys, because they're even grown boys, but they're not, and at the same time, just because you're grown does not mean that you're a man. And here's what I mean by this. A man has control over his anger does not control him.
Yes.
A boy is controlled by emotions. So even you as ladies, you could be dating a boy, not a man. And when I even say any cases like this of domestic violence, that's a boy. That's not a man. That's a boy right there. That's boyish behavior because that boy was not taught how to control his anger and how to actually even mitigate it and act accordingly as a man. Because when you are easily now maneuvered, even controlled by your emotions as a boy, even as now a grown boy, what happens is you are then prone to manipulation and you are then prone to actually now acting erratically. A man is poised and in control of his emotions and able to understand that indeed I am angry at this motion, but I'm at this moment in time, and what I am against even you maybe purchasing this particular piece of land or even engaging this in activity, but it's my job to remain poised and actually learn how to control myself and knowing that indeed I'm supposed to step away from this situation, or I learn how to articulate myself in my anger, not to act in a way that I actually regret. That's the difference between a man and a boy. So know exactly who you are dating even out there, and know even you as a man. Are you a man or just a grown boy who actually is out here? Now you're easily prone to act in anger. And here's also the other thing. When it comes to violence, a man is usually held in a higher pedestal because we have more strength. What happens to you is that you are held in a higher standard whenever your strength is there on or which you have more strength or even you have more beauty. Ladies are criticized more of their beauty because they have more of it. As men, we are criticized more when it comes to matters of strength and exerting violence because that is actually your strength. Don't you dare cry at me, woe is me, oh she slapped me fast. Nyamaza. You're not supposed to even in any way, you're supposed to maintain stoicism and actually learn how do you even mitigate those situations and behave like a man, not a boy.
You know, I've really been following about athletes and their mothers and what happens. And the theory is just the same, that when these girls are dating these boys, they are coming from very humble backgrounds. They are poor. They've not been in international stage. And then they start earning. The ladies, remember when they're in these camps, they date the boys around that environment. And the boys around that environment can either be the manager or someone who you're just in love with, but you have not seen the world. Girls forget that the moment you run in an Olympic competition, your value will go very high and you'll meet very different people, and many people will be interested in you. So immediately something comes in, it's called the love triangle. Because now this girl have realized that her value is not for this villager. You understand? So she decides to associate with men of value, men who can now take her places. And this guy still feels that you cannot leave me. Tumesafa na wewe. We've been sleeping on the floor in this wooden shack in this high altitude place. We've been showering cold water. And then eventually, and that happened with Agnes Tirop. That happened with the Damaris, the other lady. And now it's happening with Rebecca Cheptegei. It is that they dated men who were their first love and they are from very low
Economic status.
setup, yes. And now they have gone and made some money. Now they are going, they fit the high status. And these men feel jealous. They cannot let them go. And that's why every time, my advice to girls is that please do not date when you're still on that low level, because your eyes will be opened. You'll find someone. So now you're going to buy land, like this Rebecca lady wants to buy land. You have a low life kind of a boyfriend here. He does not want you to buy this land. And the biggest thing he can do is, remember, is go and buy petrol.
To exert authority over you.
To exert authority over you. So,
Okay.
and then she pours onto her and light, forgetting that petrol, even him, he'll be burnt. Because you cannot light petrol and you're pouring on someone. It will pour on you as well. And you see, that's what happened. So my advice to girls out there who are in these camps is that if you're still too young, please do not engage yourself with the men around you. Because the chances are you will lead a better life and you'll get a better man in future who will be up to your standard.
But that's not always the case, CEO. You can also even rot, then now you outage your prime beauty years, then all of a sudden you're that older lady
no,
now
but
looking
CEO,
for the
but
younger
always
boys.
aim higher.
It's not always the
But always aim higher.
Yes, ladies,
Simon,
even if you're
let me
aiming
chime-
higher,
let me
there's a
chime
cost.
in.
Okay,
yeah?
go ahead, sorry.
Or do we?
Yeah,
I
go
chime
ahead,
in,
go
yeah?
ahead, go ahead,
By
go
the
ahead,
way,
sorry.
okay, you know, when I saw this topic, really, I Googled a bit about her. We happen to have been born on the same day, on the same month, on the same year. So she died at the exact same age that I am. Like, what a coincidence. And for me, I think whenever we are talking about violence, domestic violence, we focus so much on the physical violence as it was manifested in this case. But if I look at it in my view, it's like really systemic and broad in this way. It starts with the emotional. We unajiringa juu ulienda America, ulienda Paris, ukutana na wazungu. Because there is an issue of a land parcel that is involved in this story, there is economic violence. Nani yako na pesa mingi, we unanunua pesa ukiwa kama nani? I can also see an issue of culture because in most of those cultures, it's men who engage in big trade like buying of cows and land. I also pick that the girl had some family relations in Uganda and in Kenya, so maybe I also see a cultural differences. But then again, I would say this is not necessarily about these three individuals, and may her soul rest in peace. This year kulikuwa na maandamano ya wasichana ilikuwa inaitwa End Femicide. Remember, it was a big thing even in the global media. We've seen these issues happening both in the low income places, but also in the high income places.
Yeah.
The difference is, in the high income places, I'll just say nimeanguka, and then I'll go to one of these top hospitals in Nairobi. But the truth of the matter is that this problem is so pervasive, tena iko across the economic spectrums. There's one member of parliament, and the story was in one of the newspapers. A member of parliament, her grounds for divorce was actually physical violence. Then you wouldn't say that niju. These are people of means. And then again, the other sad thing about all these stories is that the silence. So maybe even the family of this girl are so shocked to know that she was killed, because before maybe she was being beaten, lakini hakuwa anaweza kuambia watu. But then again, in this case, and I really hope that guy will face severe punishment, is that it was premeditated. You don't wake up and have petrol in the house just for the sake. You thought about going to the station, buying petrol, carrying it, waiting for the person to come, pouring on them. So I really hope justice will be done to this girl and many others so that it becomes a deterrent to others. But let's also not put marriage in a very high pedestal.
Amen to
The
that.
quality of marriage is not by the number of years you've lived. Even a marriage ikiisha after 4 years, there was no trophy or timeline. Hiyo ni sawa, imeisha. Kama umekaa 20 years, imeisha. Because most of people who stay in these abusive stations ni sabu tu wanatakanga uambiwe, I've been married for 10 years.
Yeah,
No,
marriage
let's
is a
not put
status.
marriage in the
And
pedestal.
also remember, marriage is a scam.
Yeah.
We're gonna give
Marriage
it real
is a
more after
scam.
this break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It has been very interesting in here. Maria with her off the hook stuff. And Simon saying, don't date a boy. Date a man.
Yes, who is posed and has control over his emotions. Because boys cannot control their emotions. They're just busy, erratic here, even being misled by women because you're toyed around. You cannot have any control over your emotions. That's why even you do domestic violence issues.
By the way,
Nonsense.
yeah, that's a quotable quote. Ati, real men are not controlled by their anger. They control their anger.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It should be printed on a t-shirt.
I'll do that next time. Maria, go ahead.
Maria, go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about real men. Real men were taught to be providers and protectors,
Yeah.
which should be the way it should be.
To good women. Not every woman
Yeah,
deserves
actually, to
protection.
good
Let
women.
me tell
Yeah,
you,
they are
provide
bad
and
women.
protect for that woman. If that woman is not good, tell her to go away.
Yeah, so not women
Good,
deserve to
but
be
you must
protected.
provide and protect. So anyway, but women were also taught to nurture, take care of the homes. Yes. But in this case now we are seeing that trends are changing. I don't want to call it trends. I want to say that the society is actually changing, whereby now you see men present in most of the children's lives. Like you'll see them in parents' meeting, you'll see them in sports day, you'll see them even attending events that or traditionally women would go to. I want to say I'm proud, but what do you think, Simon? Did your dad ever come to your sports day and played with you?
Actually, when it comes to my dad, I had a little issue in the States. He never came to any of my football games. And my mom was the one who used to come to all my football games and my basketball games. But I understand it because he was busy at work and everything. Even as a man, when you grow up and you know, right now there was this modern narrative that my dad was always absent and everything. But as you grow up, you learn to understand your father, and you actually learn to even now recognize that indeed he was doing this because this was a priority in fact. But those people who go out there and you blaming your father because he was not there for me, Nini, that's immaturity.
Yeah,
And that's,
true.
I think that's foolishness, being honest. And there's other thing even I would say is this: when it comes to even men, even being in this context of now playing more active role, this is very key because men communicate differently amongst each other. There's a different way even I learned even to sit amongst your elders and how you communicate amongst men elders, and how even to talk to them and how to even address them, and how so that when you speak you are heard by them, because you can also be speaking and nobody even cares what you're saying. Where kijana nyamaza, what the heck are you saying? You know, because you don't speak with any content. Even men even need to learn how to even speak amongst each other. And a key thing, even why a man is important, even in another boy's life, is this: going towards conflict and not running away from it. Because the key thing for a man is learning how to face conflict and learning not how to cower when conflict is in your face. Because a key thing, even a lady, why would the lady want to even follow a man? Why would a lady want to come into your circle? Why would anybody want to feel a sense of security around you? Is you don't fear conflict, you embrace it, and you know how to handle it. Because a lot of times in cases where a man is always surrounded by females, even you see scenarios where a man who's only raised by a single mom, but he has never actually had any male presence in his life, that man will have a hard problem when it comes to cases of conflict. And that's why even he may lash out and may lash out in a very emotional state, rather than actually recognizing this is a scenario in which I'm actually supposed to zone in and find a solution and actually now move way forward. Even if you don't know the solution, you move forward. That's literally what you're supposed to do. Like a lot of times, even CEO can even tell you, when problems are brought to him, I don't know how I'm going to solve it, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a step forward. That's the key thing as a man. And that's what you learn when you're amongst other men. You learn even that grit and that headstrong, and that's that bravery that you actually now, women are drawn to, or someone who actually wants to be with you can actually even follow. If you're not that, whoa, you coward.
I would say that with the change of economic times, there had to be a change that was supposed to be seen. I know right now, if you ask any man, they will tell you that they wouldn't want to be the only one providing for the home. Right now, nobody is interested in being just a provider. People know that with the economic times, we need to at least help each other look for money and try and find ways to survive. And because of that, parenting also has become a way that is one of the things that we divide roles on. Whereby, right now, let me speak from my personal experience. There are days that I won't be there, and I'll expect the kids will not like a present parent to go there and see what is happening in school, if there's any activities that are supposed to be done in school. My children should not feel left out because the parents are looking for money, and that's a good thing. Another thing is we are trying to give our children the courage to face life. And we are trying to raise these children in a manner that they understand that we are present, this is what we are teaching you, and we are leading by example. And it's a good initiative that right now the society is embracing the fact that I can be away and the father to my children can go and represent me somewhere. It's good that now I know that my sons can go anywhere with their dad without me, and I will feel, and it will be a good thing. Like, it's a good thing that my sons went away with their dad. Now I know that I am not the only parent. And that's why you find that there are people who have this notion of, there are single moms, we know that. They don't have a male figure raising their kids. This is what I always say. You may not have a man helping you to raise this child. You may not have someone who is, you are going to say that you are my partner or these are your children too. Try and find a male figure in your life that you can have these kids, introduce these kids to, like, for example, your dad, your brother, like any male figure that you're close to, be it family, that is going to help you add some sense of masculinity in your sons. Because we need them to grow in such a manner that, like, there are things I don't have to be the one teaching my son because I expect their father to do that. As a mom, there's only so much I can do. And right now that men are stepping in, we know very well that we are, maybe the society in the near future is going to have those tough people who are good decision makers, who are good in raising their own families, who are good in being present, so that as much as we are saying that in this economy, both man and woman should work, can we also see that in parenting like we are seeing right now? And we are really appreciating dads who go out of their way to make time to parent and raise their kids, because we don't take that for granted. It's a big deal.
Thank you. Yeah, they should be appreciated. That's very key.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
really interesting and heavy. You know, it reminds me of, I have a younger brother, so he was in one of the fairly good high schools in Nairobi. Now, not anymore, sasa ashamaliza. So one day, we went for the parents' meeting. I was sent. It's a boys' school, and there were lots of boys. We are talking about almost thousands of boys. And then the principal stood there, senior principal akasimama, asante kwa kuja, men in the room. And then they were like, women. And then a dot, like 0.1 amount or 1%. And then we were told to clap for the men, for the male parents who came. Personally, me didn't clap my hands. I was of the view that I'll use the claps to clap for the best improved students, or maybe the student who unajua they had the best improved mwenye alitoka kama D akaenda C, hiyo ni bado mzuri. And here's why. I've always said this, and I really believe it in my heart, that people create time and prioritize for things they care about. I'm telling you, in my budget right now, you know, yesterday I was laughing at myself. There's a particular hot dog that I buy in a particular supermarket. Mm-hmm. It is put onions and sauces. I know you people know it. I must eat it. And you know, whether it's hot or what, why it's a priority. I'd rather walk from my house through many corners so that I can eat it. If you want to know someone cares about something, look at the amount of time and resources they apportion to it. There's no one who can convince me that male parents are usually so busy that they lack half a day on Saturday to go to the teachers' meeting. And if you really want to know that people create time for things they care about, how come Obama, the president of a first world country, used to coach a sport in the daughter's school, sometimes based on his availability? There's no one who is so busy to do the work that they're supposed to do. Because for me, I was asking my mom, why am I clapping? I'm clapping for the male parents for doing their job. It is their job to visit their children. It is their job to nurture their children. Simon, what is this work that is usually done? So important that you lack 5 hours, because most parents meeting was zinaanza 9 a.m. zinaisha medium mnakula lunch na mtoto wako mnaenda. And I'm sorry to say that most of the children, if you listen to them, and if you listen even to stories, and there's even a program that comes on this particular KTN where men gives their perspective. They are always they always yearn for presence, not presents, presence, some sort of quality time with their parents. So my question is, it should not be seen to be a big deal for people simply doing their job, parenting. How come I usually see these bloggers who are male YouTube makers or YouTube whatever, akiangalia mtoto wake ama akimbeba ama akichange napi, oh, he's a nice dad, he's a caring dad. No, you're doing your work. It's your work to nurture and to empower your child, and nobody should applaud you for doing what you should be doing. Okay, when we are talking about the issue of
Okay, continue.
when you're
Go
talking
ahead,
about the
continue.
issue of income and, research has proven that households with two incomes are always better than households with one income. No doubt that we are living in very interesting economic times. But while at it, you really have to create time and compensate for time and make deliberate efforts every day to do the parenting work. The parenting work is an ongoing work. It's an ongoing process. It's you, the child has broken their leg. And now I'm speaking as a person who is like so much into this gender and development work. There has been research that has mentioned that women are really oppressed when it comes to unpaid care work. Why? Because now we are here, and then at 5 we all leave this office and then to go home. Simon will go take a remote, just say hello to the baby from afar, start watching TikTok. I'll go and cook, I'll go and wash utensils, I'll go and do more work. So you find that women are engaging so much in unpaid care work that we are tired. No wonder most women look older than their age because they're always tired. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, when it comes to the job of engaging with the business of your children, it's not a favor. No one should celebrate you. No one should go out of your way to applaud you. As parents who are female, when we go to a boys' school, we should not be told to clap for you. You're simply doing your job.
See you. There's something I have to say, but I want you to say first, but before I say what I'm thinking, because I have some thoughts.
There are things which are very interesting, Wanja, you've touched on, but I want you to understand that men are very different.
Very.
And you've been told there are men who are heterosexual. Heterosexual men are men who believe in traditions and they do it the way they believe in it. There are newer men who are metrosexual. And these are men who have a lot of feminine side with them. And they can go to school, they can take care of their kids and all that. And recently, there are men who are sapiosexual. These are the men who can change nappies. But I will tell you that it depends with the age group these men are. Do not expect a metrosexual to behave like a retrosexual. We will not. A retrosexual will say, I'll pay school fees, mama ataenda shule.
Full stop.
Full stop. So, if he goes to school, we have to clap for them.
Yes.
Because they have moved very far from their cultural affinity to the new age man. And that's why that principle will say, let's identify men who have come in here today, because they're not the same age group.
But they come with a newspaper only. They
Yes.
don't take snacks.
Because this one is a retrosexual. He doesn't know even what he's going to do in that school.
Why am I here?
He doesn't know.
Which reminds me of
He
my
walks
visit
in
to
and
high
he's
school.
shocked.
Yes.
He's lost.
Yeah.
You understand? He's wondering now, you're telling him, okay, go see the teacher na mwambie namuonea nini.
Yeah, actually my dad.
Na nimeclear school fees.
Nimeclear school fees. That's a retrosexual. You cannot put a retrosexual at the same place with a sapiosexual. You can't. So these men are different men. The younger men, we will do this a lot. The older men, you don't have chance with them. So we have to clap for them. And that's what I would say.
And even just to add on, here's the thing. When it comes to you saying that it's his obligation, you should not even appreciate and everything, that's a very bad angle, because that means that you are not willing to appreciate good behavior, but you're willing to shout about bad behavior. So you're not willing to give any energy towards actually any behavior that you want duplicated, and then you want to come with a level of entitlement that this is the way that you should behave, and you should conform to the new things that we have set for you as a human being to conform to. No, that's not how someone will
Visiting
no.
a child you gave birth to is not good behavior.
It's
It's a job.
No, it's not a
Can I
job.
tell you sacrifice?
No, it's not a
Can I
job.
tell you something,
It's
Wanja?
partitioned roles.
The funny thing is, when someone does that, me as a mom, I'll see it as a sacrifice. Because I know for sure there are women, okay, we go to those schools and you'll see a woman come to you and say, oh, you as the dad comes. Mine, the dad cannot. It feels good when the child is there telling you, like, daddy came to our school. Like, there's that feeling of your child is privileged to get that. Because when a man does that, me actually, to be honest with you, any man who is making that effort, a minute or two, to go and just be there for their children. Because my dad came for my visiting, actually will meet me at the gate. Sasa nimekuona, ninaweza enda tumemaliza hii maneno. That was a bad thing, by the way.
Retrosexual.
That was a bad thing.
Lakini he has
And
time.
he would come to school. Other parents are carrying shopping, food, everything. He will tell you, mnauziwa bado mkate, shika pesa ndio ununue mkate tutaonana ukikuja nyumbani. Like it's nothing, it's no big deal. So right now, me seeing my children get a different experience, it gladdens my heart. So clapping for them, they should be clapped for.
Your heart is glad, yes, and God says that let our heart be glad. But I'm asking, these men have time for the boys, they have time for the
But they are
brook
men.
they have time for the road trips.
Yes.
Of all those things, why can't they have time for their children?
But we also
Partition
have
rules.
time for our chama. We have
Nails.
time for our salon. We have time for our nails. We
Yeah,
have time
yeah.
for. We are women.
Partitioned roles.
Gender wars will never end, but sometimes it's good for a woman to understand this man loves Chelsea. There's nothing I can do about that. But I also have to make my nails. So let's not argue on gender. Let's not fight about which gender does what I do. Like, for example, there are things I would not do because my husband will do them. And there are things that he can't do because I have to do them.
Actually, when I say like anaenda road trip, najiuliza anaenda road trip the whole weekend, lakini kudedicate 4 hours ya kuongea na mwalimu wa mtoto wake. Mtoto amezaliwa na yeye forever, yani amemzaa haizi, they are related forever.
Yeah,
Hiyo time hakuna.
It's partitioned rules. I think you're conflicting
So
of
the one who will
partitioned
do
roles.
it deserves a clap.
You see,
Yeah.
Wanja, what happens in this world is very interesting that there are men who have been cultured differently. You've cultured, like for example, there are men who don't get into the kitchen. Completely.
Yeah, totally.
Completely.
Mine does, thank God.
Doesn't.
But when they were in university, when they used to live alone, they would
They would cook, yes. But now, because the culture tells them that you do not want to be in that space with their woman, uambiwe wewe, utaanza kumwambia chumvi ni nyingi, or you always put a lot of salt, or these chapos are not well cooked, and women don't like that space to be interfered with that much.
True.
Secondly, there are men who also fear if they get so close to that environment, your father comes in and you're the one who is serving your father tea. And your father is from a different cultural background, anashindwa. So you got married to be...
Makaliwa.
Yeah, you understand?
It's a very interesting
It's a very
compliment.
interesting how you look at these things.
Especially when it comes to even cultures, you know, there are things that even are very interesting that we've seen. Even that guy, the businessman in Mombasa.
Yes,
Hey,
Hasu.
let me tell you what happened. Patel, he was a businessman in Mombasa. He was recently buried. He passed away. He was known as the billionaire for the poor. So what happened was they were patrolling his body all across Mombasa. But how were they patrolling it? He was seated upright, staring at them. I am watching you. And he was taken across all the 5 temples that he helped build and structure. And at the end, of course, his body was cremated. I even just want to hear your thoughts on when it comes to even dead bodies. Even for me, I have my thoughts on cremation and everything. What are your thoughts even on cremation and or versus even normal burial that we do every single death that we do, that experience?
Death is a complicated matter, a very complicated one. Okay.
Why? What's up? Is that serious?
It's that serious.
Relax.
You know what happens? What happens is this. I think there are pros and cons on every culture. There's a pro and a con on every culture. There are these ones that when you die, you stay for a week, then you come, we bury you, then you forget. There's these ones whereby we mourn the whole week, we bury you, then there are some cultures afterwards, then you forget. Then there is now the Muslim one whereby you die in the morning, in the evening, the family that will be available, they are the ones who will bury you. Then that one. And then there's cremation. I don't know why I feel like cremation is wrong. I always feel, I don't know. Okay,
Explain.
stop looking at me like that. Like, how do you burn a human being? I know they're dead, but
Why?
yeah, there's that. But also, let me first speak about the guy that passed on, the Mombasa guy. That man deserved all the respect. Like, every respect that he could have gotten. I remember, there's a time I went to Coast, I was with my husband, and then he was telling me, you see, the person who did this, and then cleared that place and made it clean. And then there are elephants, metal things.
It's called
like,
what? Kibagani
there's-
or Kibagari?
There's so many things that he's done to the community, making it clean, and he's not a politician. He's not trying to get a seat, or he's not even trying, like, for nothing, just from the kindness of his heart. We rarely find such people. Someone who just decides, I'm going to do good by the community. And with his words, he once said that he now knows that money is nothing. And it is true, because he used all his money for good. May his soul rest in peace. I know he could not have done, maybe nothing could have done about his health, but he did so much good. Ask me about cremation. I don't think cremation should. Okay, I know it's a culture thing, but I don't want to be banned. Even if
Wanja,
I'm
what do you
dead.
think? Wanja, what do you
So,
think?
I mean, I just like Maria has said, there was a lot of good that was spoken about him.
So
Really admirable that even when you pass, people are just sharing positive stories. He educated this. Hiyo place ali clear, ilikuwa inaitwa Kibagani or Kibagari or something, some place, a dump site.
A dump site.
Ikakuwa a water park ya watu kucheza. It's a recreation park. I mean, he really did a good job. So, like all of us who strive to do good, we hope that our legacies would live positively. That said, this issue of death, sometimes I feel like when you are dying, there are so many factors outside of your control. For example, unaweza anguka Malaysia na huko kama ile ndege ya Malaysia, so utapotea tu, watu wena wakujua. However, me as Wanja, I know it's an uncomfortable conversation, especially in our African traditions. Mimi, if there were no cultural complications za kuambiwa, we, unaongea kuhusu kukufa, na vile kwa mdogo, nyamaza. If I were to be asked, me, I would say, if there are any medics who want to harvest any organ from me to advance science, medicine, to be used by university students, the eyes, I'm told Lions has a way of, you can donate your eyes. If there's anything that can be harvested, gladly harvest. The rest, what you want to do with my body, you're at liberty. But I find cremation, even though it might have maybe complications or sensitivities, it has been, people are warming up to it. Yeah. You've seen prominent people being cremated in the recent past. I'm on a scare. We shall do a church, whatever, and then we shall have a private interment, which is like a cremation. I find it, because most of our burials in traditional African society, sometimes they impoverish when you are wameachwa. Take an example of another family. Nilikuwa naona budget yao ya mazishi. Karibu 400k in Kajiado. Then mimi nilikuwa nauliza, sasa mtu ameacha watoto high school. Mnaweka budget ya mchele, see, I wish all that money can pay for those children's school fees. High school yote kwanza wafike form 4 alafu tuongee instead of so much. Our burial rites was a ceremony, tuende, tukule, tufanye nini. It becomes an economic burden on those who have been bereaved. And that's why I think the shorter, the most convenient, the cheapest, the better. Because once you are dead, you are dead.
Yeah.
But you imagine dying.
Yeah.
No, you imagine being banned. You are imagine.
See what do you think? See what do you think before I say my thoughts there?
You know, Wanja, I will tell you that people who give donations for funeral, I support, first of all, let me say that I really support big funerals.
Big.
Yes.
See,
Why?
Personally,
Why?
I would like a
Last
big
respect.
funeral, last respect. People slaughter goats, cows, people eat, make merry, have fun,
The
drink.
last hurrah.
See your Charles Otieno.
Drink.
Okay.
You know why? Because I do not understand this thing where people say, oh, the funeral economy is killing people. First of all, the people who you're saying that have 400,000, that family didn't even get their money out of it. It is us, friends, who give that money. You want me to travel from here to my village in Ugenya and you want to give me mchele without soup? My friend, I'll eat chicken.
What about
I'll
the
eat
Okay,
fish.
are you there mourning or you are there
We
to
are mourning,
eat?
but we are
But you're
having
supposed to be
fun.
crying and losing
Mourning a
appetite.
full
Listen,
stomach.
They're having
listen,
fun.
Mourning a
No.
full
listen,
stomach.
You're
listen.
supposed to be losing appetite. Why are you
We
eating?
are not losing appetite. We are going to eat.
Yes. Continue.
Our cultures are totally different. For the Luo culture, as I support people, slaughter cows, slaughter goats, slaughter anything you can for people. As last respect,
Are you
people
ever
eat.
sad?
We are sad, of course, but we are eating.
You're eating
Sad
when
When
with-
my mother passed on, we slaughtered 4 cows. People ate, people made merry, and we celebrated her life.
That's not celebrating life. You
We are
remember you are
celebrating.
depressed.
Depressed.
You've
No,
lost
why?
someone.
Sometimes you
Why are you
celebrate
eating
someone-
chicken?
So you can celebrate someone's life.
No, you're
We
supposed to
celebrate.
lose appetite. Okay, me, I don't understand
You're
how.
supposed to lose
people
appetite.
Are having food. How are you having food when someone has just
We are
died?
celebrating
Yes.
her.
You are mourning.
There's 2 things. For example, even for me, even the main thing is you can celebrate someone's life. But here's the only thing I would want to twist in this.
Yes.
When it comes to cremation, here's the only thing I would even want cremation even to happen to me would be this. After the burial and everything, you've seen my body, you've done the whole thing. One thing I notice is this. Especially if you are poor and you don't have your own land where your person will be buried.
Yes.
You're going to take now the body who go to that public cemeteries
Cemetery.
and everything. If you're doing that, I would rather prefer that even you cremate.
You cremate,
and actually
yes.
now, you have now, even you can maybe put it that even in jewelry or whatever it is that you want
Yeah.
in someone else. You can put it somewhere in a vessel. Because if you're going to put someone's body in public land, that is now when I think is foolishness instead of cremation.
The one thing
That's
that I'm
because
not
now
doing-
that body can be consumed. Now it's going to be eaten by rats. It's going to be put up by those people who take body parts and everything and now dismember. That's why Langata Cemetery is already full. People are just being stacked up to Now, if you have your own slot of land, that's when I have no issue with you burying your
Burials are
person.
very-
And
burials-
that's when you can do that.
But there's one thing I have an issue with.
What?
You're going to be cremated.
Cremated, yes.
You're going to be cremated,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have that jar, this kind of jar.
No, you don't even.
somewhere.
You can even turn. There's so many. You can even turn it into a jewelry. You can even turn it into
Why
so
am I
many ways.
carrying around with a dead person?
Someone, no, even now, forget that. Someone you buried, how many people have gone back to even see the people who have buried?
Okay.
People even forget
They
them
are
and they
going-
just dismiss them.
And that's the point.
That's when you have someone.
Once you are cremated, can the ash be just be?
No, the ash can even be kept somewhere private. Even that, I know that even me and my wife can keep a piece of me for the rest of her life because this, even a necklace or whatever it is, even in an earring, something very subtle. And you just a subtle reminder.
Hello.
Now, other people who just body the throne, who call
I'm
them,
here telling
next time
that
I see you, you're
sometimes
husband
when?
is-
I've
Yeah.
seen in movies unaenda unathrow kwa ocean. It's a way of letting go.
No, that's some white
Ama
people
sometimes
stuff.
unaeka
That's
kwa
some white
mti.
people stuff.
So Kenyans, how do Kenyans do it? They take and put it in their homes.
No, yeah,
Sometimes
you can just
unapanda
pack a
mti.
box.
Sometimes
In a
unapanda
box.
mti. Sasa ukiweka hizo ashes, it's like
Yeah,
sasa hiyo
even a
mti
tree.
ina symbolize like a new growth. So you'll
Yes.
be watering it. Because unajua so usha cremate is just powder.
No, I know the ones who bury you are far easier than the ones who want me to have the powder with me. Because I'm having the powder, I'm
Yes.
like, this
Even if
is
you
a
turn it-
body
but
of
now,
someone I
what
knew.
she just said, it can be planted in a tree. Even, is it Wangari
some-
Maathai?
Yeah.
Wangari Maathai did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blended tree, and then now that tree, which will outlive you.
Yeah.
Now that tree is a remembrance. This is Simon. This is so and so,
Yeah.
and you can actually remember it in a real way, not G
Now,
whatever.
okay, can you please people stop talking about trees because you'll make me not see trees the way I see them. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot of you see dead
just
people.
You know what?
These are not
I
people.
think what surprised me about Hasu is that, and I really appreciated the guy because one, he used to feed 40,000 people every single day,
Daily.
yes,
daily,
that man was very generous.
40,000 people, and provided water for all the slums in Mombasa every single day, and also in some watering points where you in Mombasa, you know the way it's hot, and you cannot afford to buy water all the time. So there were bowsers which were there. You just go, and if you want water, you just drink and go. What surprised me was he was very reclusive, but on his death wish was that when he dies, he should be taken around town for people to see who was helping them. I just hope that he had set a mechanism where these 40,000 people were still getting the food they've been getting, the water they've been getting, and he educated very many kids that these kids will continue with their schooling without interruption, because sometimes when the vision carrier dies, the vision
most
goes.
Times, actually. Most
And,
times.
and we hope that Hasu did not die with his vision. Secondly, what really interested me is that the fact that he was being taken around the way he was being taken around.
Seated up.
The same thing, and you see the way culture is very dynamic. If it was an African man being taken around like that, people would have said, "Ni uchawi," isn't
They
it?
would faint.
When the Bayangele clan of Bukusus, they bury people seated down. When one of them was being buried seated down, people made a lot of noise. But when Hasu was being taken around the city of Mombasa, seated in that bed, in that seat which served as his bed when he was sick with colon cancer all through. You see the way he was carried?
Yeah.
That's where he used to sleep. That's where he used to do everything. That thing.
That's it.
No one complained that it is outrageous. No one said that, "Why are you touching the dead?" They were wiping his face. You could see. Amevalishwa some shades.
I think even it's just an understanding when you because his face value, you're able to recognize it's a different culture altogether. That's where the biases will come into play.
Yeah.
That's sadly where the biases will come into play, because you can see clearly it's a different culture, and clearly what you can see is impact. Impact is the only thing that you leave once you're dead. Because once you're gone, yes, you may have your YouTube videos on your YouTube channel, but at the same time, what impact will those videos still have? Because in the end, you can't really take it with you, even if whatever, it can be burned with you, but you can't really take. What you're left with is just the impact that you've left in this world. So that's all you got left.
The guy was the Father Teresa of Mombasa.
More or less.
Yeah. He was.
But he was a little bit richer.
No, he had a lot of money.
You know, right now you cannot do charity without money. It's not like the olden days. Right now you have to be rich to do charity.
True.
But there are very many rich people
Who are selfish and
who are very
bad.
selfish, who cannot even do what that man did.
Yeah, they can't even think about it.
They can't.
And you will die. Yes, we're just keeping it real.
You spin around, you lie to yourself.
Samantha Wines, now available in all the leading wine stores.